My fiancé is the most prestigious young master in the capital and also the holy son of Southern Border. On the eve of our wedding, he suddenly forced me to postpone the marriage only because his childhood sweetheart had returned to the capital, suffering from a terminal illness with only 1 month left to live. What's wrong with her wanting to marry me? I'll marry her first. Stop bickering with a dying person. But we had formed a twin heart GU. If we didn't marry, I would endure the pain of being torn apart by thousands of insects every day, and might even die. To prevent me from ruining his and his sweetheart's happy event, he forcibly gave me a new GU embedded in incense, making me lose my memory. A month later, he knelt before me, spitting blood and begging for my forgiveness. Ching ching, you've always been gentle and sensible. You wouldn't bear to put me in a difficult position. Let's postpone our wedding for another month. Jiu Yanghang came to my medical clinic, his eyes darting about. I directly exposed his deception. It's because Lin Wanna is back, and she wants to marry you before she dies, isn't it? The news had spread all over the capital. The direct daughter of the Marquis mansion, Jiu Yanhang's childhood sweetheart, Lin Wanna, had suddenly returned 3 days ago. She was seriously ill, and many imperial physicians had diagnosed that she only had 1 month to live. Jiu Yanghang attended to her every step of the way, spending a fortune to seek medicine. Now he even resorted to deceiving me to postpone our wedding. I know this is unfair to you, I'm wrong, but this is her last wish. Can't you let her have this? I tried to calm my emotions. What if I refuse? Jiu Yanghang simply tore off his pretense, showing a hint of impatience. This is a human life. How have you become so cold-hearted? We grew up together. Am I supposed to watch her leave with regrets? Can't you stop competing with her? I laughed angrily, squeezing the turtle shell in my hand into 2 pieces. Clearly, she's stealing what's mine. Just because she's sick, I have to hand over my fiancé. What kind of reasoning is that? Besides, her family, the Marquis mansion, is taking care of her illness. With both her parents alive, it's not your place to send her off with your own marriage. Could it be that you've fallen in love with her? My heart was cold, my words sarcastic. Jiu Yanghang frowned, staring at me with disappointment. Ching ching, what nonsense are you talking about? I've always treated Wanna like a sister. Can't you just endure this a little longer? Taking her as a co-wife is just a temporary measure. We're innocent, don't have such dirty thoughts. It seems Wanna was right to worry about you. Yes, how could I compare to Lin Wanna, who had grown up with him? I was an orphan of a military general's family. Both my parents had died on the battlefield. If it weren't for that time at a noble lady's banquet, when I accidentally saw Jiu Yanghang kill a GU master, cutting out his heart to take the GU worm with blood-covered hands, I tried to run away, but accidentally stepped on a dead branch, alerting him to my presence. I love bright red the most. Do you understand? He pointed his dagger at me, his eyes full of threats. I was so scared my legs went weak, but he suddenly fainted. I tried to check his breath, but the GU worm accidentally entered my heart when I touched him. Everyone said I was lucky to win the favor of the most prestigious young master, but no one knew that Jiu Yanghang and I were bound by the twin heart GU of Southern Border. This GU was extremely hard to break. The two who were infected must marry within 3 months, otherwise they would endure the pain of being torn by thousands of insects every day. Even though I knew medical skills, I had no way to deal with GU worms. Ching ching, wait for me. I'll marry you as soon as possible. On nights when the GU worm attacked, Jiu Yanghang would endure the pain, humming nursery rhymes and whispering love words to comfort me repeatedly. Although my body ached, my heart was filled with joy. He knew no one from the general's mansion could arrange my wedding for me. So he took care of everything, from the dowry additions to the wedding ceremony. He said, Ching ching, I will never let anyone look down on you. At that time, my heart was as sweet as honey, but now, the dream was shattered. A servant hurried over and whispered something to him. He panicked, knocking over my clay jar, and left with a flimsy excuse. He even stumbled as he walked, his expression flustered and anxious. I felt uneasy and followed him for the first time. After walking through several alleyways, I watched him stumble to the gate of the Marquis mansion, hugging Lin Wanna tightly, comforting the crying woman in his arms repeatedly, and kissing her temples. A sharp pain pierced my heart. I clutched my chest, laughing until tears fell. 3 days later, Jiyu Yanghang appeared at my medical clinic again. His eyes were black with exhaustion, and he brought 3 or 5 servants to guard the clinic tightly from the outside. Ching. Wanna's health is getting worse. She can't wait any longer. Tomorrow, she will marry me first as a co-wife. A month later, I will come to marry you. Jiyu Yanghang tried to soothe me with his remaining patience. His hand rested on my shoulder, his grip so tight it made me frown in pain. She's been timid since childhood. She'll be scared if I'm not by her side for her last journey. Don't worry, I'm just accompanying her through this final stretch. Stop putting me in a difficult position, okay? The uncles and aunts of the Marquis mansion have been kind to me. I can't refuse them. You don't want me to be scolded by everyone as an ungrateful person, do you? Lin Wanna had her parents to back her up, and Jiyu Yanghang to worry about and take care of her. No matter how you looked at it, I was the poorer one. I was wearing plain clothes. I pried Jiyu Yanghang's fingers off my shoulder and took a step back. I refuse. Jiyu Yanghang's expression changed, and his tone was no longer gentle. The wedding preparations are already done. Just stay obediently in the clinic and wait for me. I'll come to marry you in a month. Don't make trouble. I dug my nails into my palm, the pain forcing me to stay awake. I've done nothing wrong, no matter how great your reasons are. You can't marry a co-wife without my consent. If you insist on humiliating me, I'll file a lawsuit with the court and let the officials judge what's right. Jiyu Yanghang didn't seem to expect me to be so resolute. He paused, then smiled and approached me again. Ching, there's no need to go to such extremes. You're the only one in my heart. If you don't agree, I'll think of another way. He put on the familiar face I knew, making me relax a little. But in the next moment, Jiyu Yanghang pressed me onto the imperial concubine couch, pried open my mouth, and stuffed a Jiyu worm into it. The Jiyu worm wriggled like a spider, crawling deep into my throat. I was terrified of it. Fear made me clutch Jiyu Yanghang's arm tightly, twisting my body to spit out the Jiyu worm, but he pinned down my hands and feet, his eyes flickering with reluctance as he repeated, Ching. This is an antidote Jiyu I developed, mixed with incense. It's specially to break the twin heart Jiyu. Just swallow it obediently. It won't hurt you, it will only make you lose your memory temporarily. A month will pass quickly. When the Jiyu worm's effect fades, I'll marry you back, and we'll live a good life together. Jiyu Yanghang's voice grew farther and farther away, and I couldn't hear clearly. The Jiyu worm crawled into my body through my throat. My limbs were in excruciating pain, and the twin heart Jiyu in my heart seemed to sense the presence of its kind. Scurrying around restlessly, I was covered in cold sweat, curling up on the ground and twitching, my hands and feet cold. It hurt so much. Ching, wait for me. Who was he? Was this an illusion? Was I going to die? Perhaps dying would be the best for me. This way, I wouldn't have to see Jiyu Yanghang catering to Lin Wanna's every wish. Before losing consciousness, I seemed to be lifted up by Jiyu Yanghang around the waist. He smelled faintly of a woman's fragrance, exactly the same as Lin Wanna's. The young lady is unwell. Close the medical clinic. I'll send her back to the mansion. The 5th day of the 10th lunar month, an auspicious day, Jiyu family's servants paraded the betrothal gifts through more than half of the capital, beating gongs and drums, scattering countless copper coins and wedding candies in a grand spectacle. I sat in the general's mansion, listening to the gongs and drums fade away. Ching, what's going on? Qin Luosha from the Prime Minister's mansion ran towards me, beads of sweat on her forehead. Why is Jiyu Yanhang's betrothal procession heading for the Marquis mansion? Why is the general's mansion so deserted, not a single person to greet them? Qin Luosha was my closest friend. She had stayed by my side the year my parents died in battle. Now, she was truly worried about me. I forced a faint smile. Watching the wild geese circling in the sky, took Qin Luosha's hand, and pulled her to sit down. Sister Qin, don't be silly. Could you have remembered incorrectly? I'm just an orphan. Living in the general's mansion, how could I be worthy of the most prestigious young master in the capital? Firecrackers sounded in the west of the city, lasting a long time. I poured tea for Qin Luosha, my eyes as calm as an ancient well. Since my parents passed away, I've been waiting to marry, but no one has acted as a matchmaker for me. What connection could I possibly have with Jiyu Yanghang? Today, he's marrying the direct daughter of the Marquis mansion. It's a great joy. Don't talk nonsense anymore, or you'll ruin my reputation. If I can't get married because of this, I'll hold you accountable. Seeing that something was wrong with me, Qin Luosha held my hand worriedly. Did he make you angry? Don't be too sad, I'll go with you to see. If Jiyu Yanghang really did such a heartless, traitorous thing, I'll ask my father to stand up for you. What was she talking about? I stared quietly at Qin Luosha's indignant face, touched my chest, and felt no emotion at all. Why did she keep urging me to watch a stranger's wedding? Jiyu Yanghang, I tasted the name on my lips. He seemed to be the noble and virtuous top young master in the capital, outstanding in talent and appearance, truly a good match for the Marquis mansion's direct daughter. I imagined the wedding must have been grand. Blurred images flashed through my mind, someone holding a phoenix crown and ceremonial robe in front of me, saying, "Ching Ching, marry me." Who was it? I tried hard to recall. But I couldn't see the person's face clearly. It must have been a dream, I thought, rubbing my temples and chuckling at myself for daydreaming. Two butterflies flew towards me in the sun, fluttering their colorful wings and landing on my shoulders. Qin Luosha supported me, sniffing lightly. "Ching Ching, why do you smell of a strange fragrance? I feel like I've smelled it somewhere before." A wave of exhaustion suddenly washed over me. For some reason, I'd been feeling dizzy lately. Sister Qin, if you want to see it, go alone. I think I've caught a cold. My body feels heavy. I want to go back to rest, so I won't keep you. Qin Luosha wanted to pull me back, but seeing how pale I looked, she could only urge me to rest well and left the general's mansion, looking back repeatedly. Once in her carriage, she ordered her maid, "There's definitely something fishy going on. Ching Ching used to care so much about Jiyu Yanghang. She must be heartbroken to put on such a forced smile and lie through her teeth. Go to the Marquis mansion. I want to see what trick Jiyu Yanghang and Lin Wana are playing. That scoundrel Jiyu Yanghang only sent a servant to dismiss me, saying he's too busy with wedding matters to see me." A few days later, Qin Luosha ran to the general's mansion, her face bright red with anger. She sat across from me, rambling on and scolding. "I wanted to ask for justice for you, but Jiyu Yanghang publicly said he barely knows you and told me not to talk nonsense. What an ungrateful wretch. I really misjudged him before." I moved the imperial concubine couch to the courtyard, soaking up the sun as I listened to her talk about Jiyu Yanhang's wedding. I picked up a grape. It was so sour. I heard that the bastard invited the clan elders to the mansion the next day, sacrificed cattle and sheep, opened the ancestral hall, and let Lin Wana worship the ancestral tablets as his wife, adding her name to the family tree. He's in such a hurry, saying Lin Wana doesn't have long to live, but she looks ruddy and healthy to me, not at all sick. A few days ago, I even saw Jiyu Yanghang take her boating. It was so cold. But Lin Wana only wore a thin silk skirt, huddled in Jiyu Yanhang's arms and coughing non-stop. Qin Luosha picked up a grape, spat it out immediately because of the sourness, and frowned as she continued. You should have seen how anxious Jiyu Yanghang was. He wanted to tuck Lin Wana into his pocket and immediately ordered the boat to dock. They sounded like a deeply affectionate couple of immortals. All afternoon, Qin Luosha muttered in my ear about Jiyu Yanghang and his wife, talking about how doted on Lin Wana was. He had climbed 999 steps at dawn to kowtow 3 times and bow 9 times at Qianfu Temple, begging for an amulet blessed by the abbot. He had spent tens of thousands of taels to buy out all the fireworks in the capital just to make the beauty smile. He had raced horses with Lin Wana, personally hunted 2 white foxes, and had their fur made into a scarf and cloak for her. He had spent an entire afternoon grinding and brewing a bowl of fresh tea, just to make it easier for Lin Wana to take her medicine. Ching. I also heard that they consummated the marriage on their wedding night. Qin Luosha paused, stealing a glance at my expression before hesitating to speak. Don't cry. That bastard Jiyu Yanghang, I'll teach him a lesson for you. She hurriedly pulled out a handkerchief to wipe my face. As I raised my hand, crystal tears rolled down my cheeks, tasting slightly bitter on my lips. Why was I crying? My heart beat chaotically, and sharp, piercing pain made me curl up, my vision blurring. These were clearly people unrelated to me. Clearly, my heart was calm, but my body's reaction made me start to doubt. Could there be something wrong with my memory? No, if Jiyu Yanghang had really had feelings for me, how could he have hurt me like this? Qin Luosha frowned. Ching. Why is that strange fragrance on you stronger than before? Really, maybe I put too much perfume. A full month passed since Jiyu Yanghang and Lin Wana's sensational wedding in the capital. The general's mansion received an invitation from the Marquis mansion, signed by Lin Wana. She asked to meet me at Zhenxiu Pavilion. Curious about her intentions, I changed my clothes and went to the appointment. Lin Wana sat by the window. When she looked up and saw me, she revealed the heirloom jade bracelet on her wrist, pointed to the seat opposite, and said, I'm in poor health. Yanghang is afraid I'll tire myself, so he won't let me be in the wind otherwise. He'll make me drink bitter medicine. I won't stand up to greet you. The sun was warm and gentle. Where was the wind? I tilted my head and sat across from her. Lin Wana frowned, seemingly dissatisfied with my reaction. This is the Jiyu family's heirloom jade bracelet, only given to the legal wife. He put it on me personally on our wedding night and told me never to take it off. If I refuse, he teases me. It's so embarrassing. He went to find medicine for me again today. He's already visited all the famous doctors in the capital. Lin Wana was deliberately showing off. I felt confused and interrupted her. Madam Jiyu, what did you ask me here for? You didn't invite me just to tell me about your marital secrets, did you? Lin Wana was lost for words, her eyes turned sharp, and her tone carried a threatening edge. No matter what you're planning, I advise you to stop coveting Jiyu Yanghang's legal wife position. He will never marry you. Jiyu Yanghang's wife will only be me. I nodded, stood up to leave, and said, then I wish you both a long and happy life. In the moment I turned around, I saw Lin Wana fall to the ground like a willow branch, knocking over a teapot that spilled hot water on her, looking delicate and pitiful. Wana. Jiyu Yanghang glared at me, suddenly pushing me aside. Who are you? I asked, filled with confusion. This was our first meeting. How could he be so rude? You're pretending not to know me. Don't be afraid, Wana. If anything happens to you, I'll make her pay the price. He hurried past me with Lin Wana in his arms, shouting for an imperial physician. Lin Wana, held tightly in his embrace, turned to glance at me, a provocative smirk curving her lips. I rubbed my bruised arm, truly a well-matched couple. In the evening, the sky grew overcast and it began to rain. As I prepared to return to the mansion, someone knocked on the medical clinic's door. When I opened it, I was stunned to see Jiyu Yanghang standing in the rain, soaked to the bone. He grabbed my hand. Ching, it's me, Jiyu Yanghang. Look at me, young Master Jiyu. Please respect yourself. My wrist was pinched red. I frowned and pulled it away, suddenly feeling irritable. My tone was distant and impatient. I'm unmarried, and my reputation is most important. Breaking into my place late at night and acting so improperly, are you taking advantage of the fact that there's no one to protect me at home? No, Ching Ching, look at me. You shouldn't look at me like this. We're betrothed. Jiyu Yanghang grabbed my arm excitedly, shaking it violently and shouting at the top of his lungs. I'll marry you into the mansion soon. What's this strange fragrance on you? The antidote for the memory-erasing Jiyu incense can't be wrong. A month has passed. He pulled me into his arms, holding me tightly. The unfamiliar scent made me resist. I pushed him away. You're already married. With a wife whose name is in the family tree. I don't remember having any past entanglement with you, young Master Jiyu. Please leave at once. Stop spouting nonsense and sullying my reputation. Jiyu Yanhang's eyes turned bloodshot as he forced open the half-closed door, desperate. He pulled a vial from his bosom, poured out a Jiyu worm, and held it tremblingly in his palm. You can't forget me. The antidote must have failed. Take another one. Ching Ching, this time you'll definitely remember me. He grabbed my throat frantically, coaxingly prying open my mouth as he rambled crazily. Ching Ching, I'll keep my promise soon. Don't scare me. Don't be like this. The Jiyu worm wriggled into my heart. It thrashed wildly, sending waves of dizziness through my head and nausea churning in my stomach. Large raindrops pelted my body, the bitter cold making me want to fall into a deep sleep. I was so tired. Jiyu Yanghang, you bastard. Let her go. Qin Luosha's furious roar echoed in my ears. Throw him out. Servants from the Prime Minister's mansion rushed forward with wooden sticks, forcing Jiyu Yanghang to leave. Qin Luosha held me in her arms, holding an umbrella to shield me from the rain. I tried to smile to reassure her that I was okay, but the next second, I fainted. When I woke up again, I was lying on a couch in the backyard of the clinic. Qin Luosha sat beside the bed with a bowl of medicine. You're finally awake. You've had a high fever the whole time. The imperial physician came twice. I was so scared. Don't worry, I'm fine. My voice was hoarse and barely audible. I drank a few sips of tea to moisten my throat. Qin Luosha handed me a waist pillow to make me more comfortable, then told me how she had stormed the Marquis mansion while I was unconscious, smashing their door plaque and throwing feces and rotten eggs at the stone lions at the gate. The stench could be smelled 10 miles around. And the townsfolk cursed the Marquis mansion relentlessly. I sent someone to tell Jiyu Yanghang to stay away from your clinic, take care of his sickly wife, and never bother you again. Lin Wana was there too. I kindly informed her that Jiyu Yanghang had insisted on coming to your clinic, refusing to leave no matter how hard we tried. You should have seen her face. It was so satisfying, like she'd swallowed a fly, full of resentment. Qin Luosha watched my reaction secretly. I felt sleepy. Blinking slowly, thank you for standing up for me, Sister Qin. Now there won't be any irrelevant rumors in the capital, and my reputation is cleared. Do you really not remember Jiyu Yanghang? Qin Luosha looked at me strangely. I shook my head, staring at the red plum blossoms outside the window. Should I remember him? The rain continued in the capital, and the joke of Qin Luosha storming the Marquis mansion spread everywhere, becoming a topic of conversation among the townsfolk. But Jiyu Yanghang seemed to think it wasn't enough, or perhaps he had lost his mind. He actually announced publicly that he wanted to take me as a co-wife. When Jiyu Yanghang arrived at the general's mansion with his betrothal procession, servants from the Marquis mansion hurried over to stop him, saying their terminally ill young lady had fainted again. Amidst the sound of swaners and gongs, Jiyu Yanghang tightened the reins of his horse, glanced at the general's mansion gate, and turned around to rush back. Lin Wana lay pale on the bed, holding his hand and sobbing. Yanghang, don't leave me. At the general's mansion, for some reason, several trees in the courtyard had withered, their fallen leaves covering the ground. Jiyu Yanghang, who should have been accompanying Lin Wana as she recovered, appeared outside my bedroom. His hair was disheveled, dark circles hung under his eyes, and his arms and palms were covered with marks from Jiyu worm bites, his clothes stained red with blood. The vials and jars of Jiyu worms on the ground emitted a smell that filled me with disgust and resistance. Ching, just wait a little longer. I'll definitely develop an antidote for the twin heart Jiyu, he muttered to himself. Forcing a smile at me, his eyes bloodshot, I watched as he cut his palm with a dagger and dripped blood into a porcelain jar. Feeling somewhat bored, Jiyu Yanghang, how dare you show up here? Slap. Hearing the commotion, Qin Luosha rushed over, swinging a soft whip at Jiyu Yanghang. He didn't dodge, and a bloodstain appeared on his chest from the whip. Qin Luosha stood protectively in front of me, pointing at his face and cursing, "Now you're suddenly pretending to be affectionate. What were you thinking when you married Lin Wana in such a grand ceremony, making Qingqing the laughingstock of the entire capital? Everyone knew about your betrothal to Qingqing. Your betrothal procession changed course halfway. Do you know what those gossipy women said about her? They said she was trying to climb up to the Marquis mansion, that she was delusional, and they stabbed her in the back with their words. How did Qingqing get through those days? While you were embracing your beautiful wife, she had to endure all the insults. Now don't think a few self-inflicted hardships will win her back. Your maid from the Marquis mansion went to the pharmacy this morning to buy medicine, obviously for prenatal care. You claim you only see Lin Wana as a childhood playmate, a sister, but you consummated the marriage on your wedding night. All the servants in the mansion know you sleep in Lin Wana's room every night, in front of Qingqing. Dare you say the child in Lin Wana's belly isn't yours? Dare you swear to heaven?" Jiyu Yanghang stumbled to his feet, staring at me in panic. His lips trembled as he shook his head, trying to explain, but he stammered for a long time without saying a complete sentence. "I didn't. Wana's child was an accident. I was drunk that night. A strong wind blew, swirling the fallen leaves. Seeing my cold gaze, Jiyu Yanghang tried to take 2 steps forward anxiously, but Qin Luosha's whip hit him, sending him stumbling back. I patted Qin Luosha's arm. This concerned me. I shouldn't let her stand up for me every time. "Jiyu Yanghang, whatever happened between us in the past is over now. I don't remember it, and I don't want to. Since you already have a beloved wife by your side, you should cherish her instead of pestering me." He still refused to believe it, forcing a self-deceptive smile and looking at me pleadingly. "No, you must still be angry that I'm late. I'll divorce Lin Wana today and make her leave the Marquis mansion." Jiyu Yanghang suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. He didn't bother to wipe it away, promising me a grand sedan chair, a 10-mile-long wedding procession. "Everything I promised you, I'll fulfill. I'll marry you into the mansion. Make you my legal wife, my only wife. Give me one more chance, okay?" Qingqing, a tear slid down his cheek. Blurred images flashed before my eyes. A young, handsome man holding me with a blushing face, saying he would invite the best embroiderers in the capital to make my wedding dress. Him brushing my eyebrows gently with his own hand, saying he was looking forward to lifting my veil on our wedding night. But so what? I stared at Jiyu Yanghang with calm eyes. "No, I won't marry you. Please don't disturb me again in the future." Jiyu Yanghang's face turned ashen. He clutched his chest, raised his trembling fingers, and said, "At least let me remove the Jiyu poison from your body." I refused him. Rather than getting entangled with him, inviting trouble and gossip, I'd rather endure the pain from the Jiyu worm. But Jiyu Yanghang wouldn't give up. He began following me every day, from the general's mansion to the medical clinic. I had several skilled bodyguards sent by Qin Luosha to protect me. He didn't dare get close, only following from afar, no longer the most prestigious young master in the capital. He had stubble on his face and wore tattered clothes. Only his burning gaze remained fixed on me, standing a few steps away, he kept muttering inexplicable things. Ching ching. Do you remember this? You embroidered these knee pads for me by hand, saying you were afraid I'd be cold in winter. I glanced at the slightly rough knee pads in his hand and shook my head. It's okay. Jiyu Yanghang smiled nervously, as if comforting himself. He pulled out other things. This is the hair crown you polished for me, saying you wanted to be my lifelong wife, to stay together until old age. This is your favorite glazed cake. When the twin heart Jiyu attacked and the pain was unbearable, only something sweet could ease it. You'd go to the pastry shop before dawn every day to buy fresh ones and share them with me. Jiyu Yanghang tried to make me remember distant things. I threw the medicinal dregs in my hand into the stove, ground them slowly, and replied without looking up, "You're mistaken. I don't like sweet things, especially not pastries. People can lose their memories, but they can't change their nature. When my parents were alive, they frightened me by saying too much sugar would make my teeth fall out. I'd never liked sweet food since childhood. I preferred sour." If what Jiyu Yanghang said was true, then the pastries the old Shen Qingqing bought must have been only to make him more comfortable. Jiyu Yanghang realized this too. Standing frozen in place as if struck by lightning, the 7-foot-tall man couldn't hold back his tears, his lips trembling as he hugged the pastries and left the clinic. I didn't see him for the next 3 days, just as I thought Jiyu Yanghang had given up. He climbed over the wall into the general's mansion on a thunderstormy night. The bodyguard stopped him in the courtyard, and he shouted, demanding to see me, wearing an outer robe and holding an umbrella. I watched as Jiyu Yanghang knelt in the rain, soaked to the bone, his long hair clinging to his cheeks. Ching ching. I was wrong. I only married Lin Wanna because I felt sorry for her. She had so little time left. I cherished our childhood friendship and wanted to accompany her for a month. He looked up at me, crawling 2 steps forward on his knees, blood oozing from them. Tomorrow, I'll welcome you into the mansion. I'll drive her out. I thought all my attachment to you was because of the twin heart Jiyu. Now I regret how stupid I was. I didn't realize I'd already fallen in love with you. You're my only wife. Jiyu Yanhang's only wife. Thunder rumbled. I looked at him, my heart empty and calm. You said you only saw Lin Wanna as a sister. Yet you took care of her until she got pregnant. You claim deep love for me. But for a month after your wedding, I never saw you outside my clinic. I'm not blaming you. What you do has nothing to do with me. But for the sake of our past acquaintance, I'll remind you, don't neglect one for the other. Go back to your wife. Perhaps my refusal was too firm. Jiyu Yanghang went crazy, rushing past the bodyguards, grabbing my arm, and roaring with a sinister expression. No. Tomorrow I'll send people to the general's mansion. Even if I have to kidnap you, I'll take you back. Time is long. I'll develop the antidote for you, and you'll definitely remember me again. The bodyguards quickly surrounded me, pushing him away. I looked down at my sleeve, dirted by his grip, and frowned in irritation. Jiyu Yanghang, if you insist on forcing me, I'll hang myself with a white silk ribbon from the beam ending it all. That way, you won't pester me every day. And I won't have to endure the gossip and accusations. I'd had enough. You'd rather die than marry me. Jiyu Yanghang stumbled to the ground, his white robe covered in mud. Yanghang, Lin Wanna, her belly swollen with child, rushed into the general's mansion in the rain. She helped Jiyu Yanghang up, staring at me fiercely with jealousy and resentment I couldn't understand. She paused again. What more do you want? That strange fragrance on you isn't from the memory-erasing Jiyu incense. You're wearing perfume to fool me, aren't you? The Jiyu incense is the antidote for the twin heart Jiyu, but it only causes temporary amnesia. How could you forget me forever? Clip-clop. The sound of horse hooves approached from inside the city. A servant from the Marquis mansion ran to Jiyu Yanghang, pulling an urgent letter from his bosom. Young master, an urgent letter from southern border. Jiyu Yanghang unfolded it, read the contents, and laughed wildly, tears streaming down his face. How?
Permanent amnesia from the GU incense is rare. Ching ching. How could this be impossible? The twin heart GU was hard to break, not only because the antidote incense was difficult to prepare, but also because the effects varied greatly among those who took it. Some lost their memories for a month, meaning the antidote failed and the GU remained. Others suffered permanent amnesia, accompanied by a faint strange fragrance on their bodies, and the twin heart GU was completely eliminated, no longer affecting them. I was lucky enough to be the latter. GU Yanghang couldn't bear the truth and fainted. The letter fluttered down to my feet in the wind. I looked down, seeing blurs of blood staining the paper, smudging the words. The Marquis Mansion's servants carried GU Yanghang away in a fluster, shouting for a doctor. The dark clouds scattered, and sunlight broke through, warming my body. In the distance, the Marquis Mansion's carriage shrank to a dot and disappeared. A sudden pain seized my heart, as if something was being pulled out of me. Excruciating agony spread through every limb, dizzy and ringing in the ears. I leaned against my horse, recovering slowly. When I opened my eyes again, I felt light and free. That must have been the last time I'd ever felt heartache. Years later, Qin Luosha visited my small courtyard hidden in the bamboo forest. Looking around with admiration, she said, "I worried about you for nothing. You're living a carefree life. If I didn't have a husband and daughter clinging to me in the capital, I'd move here to live with you too." I smiled and teased her, sorting through a basket and drying the medicinal herbs I'd picked. "Unfortunately, your body is here, but your heart has long flown back to the capital." We chatted about daily life for a while, and she mentioned old acquaintances in the capital with some regret. "Not long after you left, Lin Wanna really fell seriously ill. I suppose the gods couldn't bear all the bad things she'd done and punished her. She lost the baby too. When I left the capital, I heard she was on her last breath." I nodded indifferently, not caring about their stories. Karma was a cycle, nothing to do with me. Qin Luosha didn't stay long before returning to the capital. She was married now, with a loving husband and an obedient daughter, and couldn't be away for too long. A few days later, I received a letter from her. She wrote that GU Yanghang had secretly planted a tracking GU on her at some point, and had followed the GU worm to the bamboo forest courtyard, but at the foot of the mountain where my courtyard lay, I'd set up an illusionary formation I'd learned from a Taoist priest I'd met by chance. Without my guidance, he couldn't find his way up the mountain. After returning, GU Yanghang begged Qin Luosha, saying he wanted to see me. He knelt outside her mansion, refusing to leave no matter how hard they chased him. She had no choice but to write and ask me, "Ching Ching, do you want to see him? Lin Wanna is dead." He's a bit pitiful. Having become a mother, Qin Luosha's heart had softened. I picked up my brush and wrote 2 words in reply. No, there were countless poor people in the world. As a doctor, I could only heal their physical illnesses. I didn't care about GU Yanhang's life or death, nor did I want him to appear again and disrupt my peaceful life. Later, I heard that GU Yanghang had taken the memory-erasing GU incense many times on himself, but he was unlucky. The GU worms devoured each other, and he never forgot me for a moment. For the rest of his life, he would have to endure the pain of being torn by thousands of insects. As for me, I still traveled around from time to time. I recorded all the rare illnesses I encountered in a book, compiling them into a medical manuscript. I took on 2 apprentices, raised a few chickens and ducks, and planted some fruits and vegetables. The sun shone warmly, and there was still a long, beautiful life ahead.